Hey, Mom! I just got my acceptance letter in the mail. As of this fall, I will officially be a student at an Ivy League university. You know what that means? It means that now it's official. I am way better than you in every single way. From this point on, I am going to take a completely different path in life than you.
That's wonderful to hear, Misty. I'm so proud of you. You worked so hard to earn this.
I can't take all the credit for myself, though. You were the best reverse role model I could have asked for. All I had to do was take a look at you, and that provided the motivation I needed to not fail as miserably as you did. I thought about all the decisions you made in life, and I took the exact opposite ones. And thanks to that, I'm on my way up while your life is only going downhill from here. And since we're talking about the future, I have a request for you. I want to completely disassociate from you, so get out of our house and never talk to us again.
What? Misty, what are you saying? You don't want me in your life anymore?
Yeah, I thought I made that clear already. While I was studying for the SAT, I needed someone to cook and everything for me. I mean, how am I supposed to focus if I also have to clean my own room, wash the dishes, that sort of stuff? And since you're not good for anything but being a free maid, I decided I would get as much out of you as I could. But now that's all over, I have a lot more free time. I can do all that stuff by myself just fine, and I don't need you anymore. So I think it's time for you to go, as soon as possible. Immediately if you can.
Misty, is that how you really felt about me all this time? Not as your mother, but as a maid? You haven't been speaking to me much lately, but I thought that you were just under a lot of stress. I mean, applying to an Ivy League university is no small task, but you're telling me that it's because you just wanted to use me while you could then toss me aside? Why would you do this to me, Misty? What have I done to deserve this?
It's not that you've done something per se. It's more just the fact that you exist, if you know what I mean. Your mere presence in the house is enough to completely kill my mood.
I don't understand why you would feel that way.
Really? You don't? Think about it. Use a tiny brain of yours for a change. I don't even know why Dad wanted to marry you in the first place. You're nowhere near good enough for him. You're a high school dropout, which by itself is enough to make me puke. But not only that, you're fat and ugly. Being related to you is one of the most humiliating things I can imagine.
I cannot believe the way you're talking to me. I think I need to have a talk with your father about this.
Don't bother. He's agreeing with me. He wanted me to give you a message, actually. He says I'm done with you, get out of my house, and we're getting divorced.
What?
That works out really well in my favor, too. If I tell people I'm being raised by a single father, they're going to feel super bad for me. I'll get preferential treatment in job interviews, and there are even a few scholarships I can apply for. Unfortunately, though, there aren't any scholarship programs for the children of fat, ugly high school dropouts. So you staying in my life has a major downside and absolutely no upside. Do you get it now?
Is your father with you right now?
You bet. Dad was so happy for me when he heard I got accepted into an Ivy League university that he's taking me out to a 5-star restaurant for dinner. And before you ask, yes, we deliberately didn't invite you. I mean, you're not going to be our family for very much longer. So why waste the money on buying you all this high-class food? A high school dropout like you wouldn't like it anyway. You can have boiled hot dogs for dinner or something.
Boiled hot dogs?
Yeah, I was the one that came up with that line, actually. Dad cracked up laughing when I told it to him earlier.
Well, even if you weren't going to invite me, I wish you would have at least told me. I had no idea you wouldn't be home, so I already made dinner for all of us. I won't be able to eat this all by myself.
As if I would care that you wasted your time. Honestly, the thought of you slaving away over hot stove while me and Dad are dining on the finest food around is just hilarious. Go ahead and eat whatever pig slop you whipped up by yourself and throw away any leftovers.
I just got a text from your father. He's telling me he wants a divorce. What is going on here? Was that really you? Did you send me that text from your dad's phone to back up your story?
I know you're stupid. But really, Mom? I'm talking to you right now, aren't I? Do you think I'm texting you from my phone with one hand and Dad's phone with another? I'm pretty good at texting, but not that good.
Then this is what your father really wants? He really wants to divorce me.
I've been trying to convince him to break up with you for ages now. I tell him every day that you're just a fat, ugly high school dropout and he can do better. Looks like I finally managed to convince him I'm right.
I see. So, the two of you are sure about this, are you?
Surer than we've been ever about anything. We were literally just talking about how much more fun we'll have without you around. Dad was saying how great it would be if we got back from this awesome dinner and you were already gone.
All right then, I'll leave. If that's what you really want, then I have no objections.
Wait, really? Awesome! Thanks so much, Mom. Divorcing Dad is the best high school graduation present that could have ever given me. This is the best!
I'll have my lawyer draw up a set of divorce papers tonight. I'll pick them up from his office in the morning, sign them, and drop them off in the afternoon. After that, I'll leave. Is that what you want?
That is literally the best possible way this could have gone. I was afraid you would drag the process out. I never expected you would give up so easily.
Why would I want to drag the divorce out? You aren't worth the time. Now, I have a lot of things to do before tomorrow, so I'll end this conversation here.
Good morning, sunshine. So, have you gotten used to life at my place yet? I'm glad to see that all the kids have taken a liking to you. Are they causing you any problems in the morning?
Not at all. I've never been woken up by 10 dogs taking turns licking my face before. It's a refreshingly new experience. But really, though, being around all those dogs is really soothing. It's like the stress that's been building up inside me over the last several years is all getting released at once.
I'm really glad to hear that. They do say that interacting with animals is good for mental health. By the way, all of the dogs in my place were rescues. Did I tell you about that?
You did, yeah. I think you said that you were looking for permanent homes for them?
That's right. They're all dogs that were in the shelter for so long that if no one picked them up, they were just going to get put down. I couldn't let that happen. So, I decided to take them all home myself and take care of them while I look for new owners for them. But I think I might be giving them a little bit too much love and affection. At this rate, I'd be surprised if they would be willing to go to a new home.
I know what you mean. I bet you feel the same way, though. I've only been here for a few days, but I'm already starting to dread the day when I'll have to leave. It's, I don't know, kind of heartwarming. Like I had a human family of my own up until a few days ago. But I feel more at home here with you and your dogs than I ever did with my husband and daughter.
Yep. That's why they have therapy dogs at hospitals. The more hurt a person is, the more they feel the joy and warmth that comes from taking care of animals. I guess that's one of the big differences between humans and dogs. A human child eventually gets to the point where they can take care of themselves and don't need their parents anymore. But it doesn't work that way for dogs. No matter how old they get, they'll always need the help of their owners to survive. I don't have kids of my own, but I feel like maybe the motivation I get from taking care of these dogs is similar to a parent's feelings towards their children.
Yeah, speaking from experience, I can say it's similar but different. With these dogs, all you need to do is pour love and affection into them, and they'll give it right back to you. Human kids, not so much.
Wow, Sherry. It seems like you really had a hard time of things with your husband and daughter. I might not be the person you want to hear this from, but from what I've heard from you, you definitely did the best that you could for them.
Thanks for saying that, Haley. You know, that reminds me of something you said a long time ago.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Back when I got engaged to my husband, you tried to talk me out of it. But I was so obsessed with the idea of having a family that I didn't listen to you. You knew that I had wanted children since we were both kids, but you told me that I would probably be happier if I took care of animals instead. Do you remember that?
Now that you mention it, I did say that. At the time, I had just gotten out of a long and unhealthy relationship with my previous boyfriend. I felt like I just couldn't trust anyone anymore, at least not any human. I was afraid that you would go into the relationship only thinking about having a child and not thinking about yourself. But hey, I'd say it was a roaring success. You did get married, you stayed married for almost 20 years, and you have a daughter. Plus, that daughter just got accepted into an Ivy League university. Not many parents can say that.
You really are a great friend, Haley. When you say it like that, it doesn't sound impressive, does it? But look at what's come of it all now. I gave my all for them, and it was all for nothing. Maybe you were right. Maybe I shouldn't have married him back then.
I don't think you should be caught up in should-haves or could-haves right now, Sherry. What's done is done. It's in the past now. No amount of regret can change the past. All you did was choose the pet that you thought was the best one at the time. That's all anyone can do, really. In the end, it didn't go out like you thought it would. What's important now is your future. Focus on the lessons you can learn from what happened and use them to choose a better path moving forward.
Wow, Haley, you're pretty good with words for someone who spends all her time around animals.
Hey, I'll have you know that animals can be very interesting conversation partners. At the very least, they're a lot more honest than your daughter. Honest and much more grateful. I'm happier now than I ever thought I could be. Which brings me to a proposal I wanted to run by you. What would you think about following in my footsteps?
Meaning what, exactly?
All right, listen up. I want answers. My dad just told me he's not going to be able to pay for my college tuition anymore.
I don't know why you'd expect any answers out of me. I'm nothing to you anymore. If you want answers, go and ask whatever questions you may have of your precious daddy. It's no longer any business of mine what goes on with you two.
I already tried that. Why do you think I'm talking to you?
And what did he tell you?
All he would tell me is that he can't pay for my tuition, so I would have to find some other way to pay for it. When I asked him why, he told me to ask you. What's going on, Mom? Did you do something to Dad?
I didn't do anything. It's just that I'm not going to pay for your college education anymore.
What? What are you talking about? You're going to pay for my college tuition since when?
No, I was going to pay for your tuition. I changed my mind, though, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Your dad certainly can't pay for it, and that's why he's telling you to either find some way to finance it yourself or else you'll have to drop out. What part of that don't you understand?
None of that makes any sense. My dad should not have any problem at all paying for me to go to college, even at an Ivy League one. Why were you the one who was going to pay for it? And now that you're not here anymore, why can't my dad pay for it?
It's because I've been paying for just about everything around here for as long as I can remember.
Don't lie to me. There's no way that's true. How could a fat, ugly high school dropout possibly pay all of our bills? You couldn't even make a mortgage payment with whatever lame part-time job you go to every day.
What made you think I was going to do a lame part-time job?
I mean, you are, aren't you?
No, it's just what you convinced yourself I was doing. If you would have asked me a single question about what it is I do for a living, I could have told you. But you never expressed any interest. You may think that I'm just some fat, ugly high school dropout, but I'm actually an executive at a major company.
Oh, come on. You can't expect me to believe that. There's no way any respectable company would make a high school dropout an executive. That's the kind of job that people who go to Ivy League universities do.
I'm sure that's what you would like to believe, but I'm afraid that's a product of your imagination. It's like you've never set foot in the real world.
Well, I haven't yet, no. I'll have plenty of time to go for that once I go to college, though.
You think college campuses are the real world? Yikes. In any case, my company isn't caught up too much in the credentialist craze. They're more concerned in finding talent and business sense. I won't deny that I did have something of a connection in the company that helped me out, but just because I dropped out of high school doesn't tell anyone anything about my real-world skills.
Of course it does! If you can't even finish high school, how could you possibly run an actual business?
You seem to be under the wrong impression. It's true that I wasn't able to finish high school. When I was 16, my parents both passed away in a car accident. None of my relatives lived in the area, so I had no choice but to get a job and support myself.
Wait, really? You mean you didn't drop out because you were too stupid to graduate?
At the time I dropped out, my grades were consistently at the top of the class. I was on my way to graduate as valedictorian. But there was no way I was going to be able to both keep up with my studies and keep food on my table, so I had no choice but to prioritize survival. That ended up working out in my favor, though. Shortly after I started out, the CEO of the company happened to stop by the factory I was working in. He was impressed by how well I worked despite being the youngest person in the company by about 10 years. So he actively promoted me to higher and higher positions of responsibility in the company. And every time I moved up the ladder, I put out real results. My numbers were even higher than all the older college graduates that I was working with.
I find that really hard to believe. But if that were true, it still doesn't explain why my dad can't pay for my tuition. He's just as much of an elite businessman as you are.
Is that what you think? I suppose if that's the impression of your father that you'd like to have, you're welcome to think that way. It still doesn't change the fact that he can't pay for your tuition. You'll just have to get a job and pay your own way if you can. Do you remember what you said to me before I divorced your father? You told me that I was the best reverse role model you could ask for. That was the reason you brainwashed your father into wanting to divorce me. You didn't want to walk down the same path I did. In the end, though, getting me to divorce your dad resulted in you having to support yourself at a young age, just like I did. Isn't that ironic? Although in your case, you do have one advantage I didn't. You still have your father, as useless as he is.
Would you slow down for 1 second? I still don't understand. Dad's an elite businessman, isn't he? Why doesn't he have enough money to pay for my tuition?
How did you get accepted into an Ivy League university with a room temperature IQ? The reason he can't pay for your tuition is that he isn't an elite businessman.
No way, that can't be true. Dad always talks to me about how he's the CEO of his own company. He gets to hang out with all the wealthiest and most famous people in the area at exclusive parties.
I see he still can't let go of the past.
Huh? What is that supposed to mean?
It means that there was, in fact, a time when your father was an elite businessman. He was the CEO of his own company, and he was an active member of local elite circles. But that's all a thing of the past. His company went bankrupt a long time ago, and he's been unemployed ever since.
What? You're joking. Dad is unemployed?
If you want to think I'm joking, then by all means, go right ahead. It's the truth, though. I mean, if I really were joking, then there's no reason he wouldn't be able to pay for your tuition, right? He's a graduate of an elite university, the CEO of an elite company, and hangs out with an elite crowd. Surely a guy like him would want to pass on the benefits of a college education to his daughter, wouldn't he?
Wait, so you're being serious? Dad is really unemployed? But that makes even less sense. I mean, if you're telling the truth, that means he's unemployed and making no money. But you're an executive making tons of money. Why would he divorce you if that were the case?
If you think you're confused about that self-destructive move, imagine how shocked I was. The only reason I could think of was that he wanted to save face in front of you. You spent all your time buttering him up with praise, telling him that he's way too good for a fat, ugly high school dropout like me. How could he possibly come out and admit that he was the real loser after all of that?
But that would be the dumbest thing to do imaginable. He knew that you were the only one keeping him housed and fed. Divorcing you would have meant that his lifestyle would go straight down the drain.
You're absolutely right about that, and that's why he was talking to me for a while after you made him divorce me. He came to me saying that he only divorced me because you wanted him to, but that we can still have the same relationship as always. I have never heard anything so pathetic as that in my life. It was almost depressing to watch how much he was debasing himself for you.
So, he was talking to you behind my back?
He sure was, and that's not all he told me. Apparently, he had a secret stash of money that he had hidden when his company went bankrupt. So while I was paying for all of our bills, he was spending that money on whatever he wanted. He had never paid much attention to his balance, though, so he had no idea how much he had left. When I divorced him, he checked the balance for the first time in over a decade, and, well, it's not quite at zero, but it will be very, very soon.
Uh-oh.
He realized too late how much he was dependent on me. He was calling me multiple times a day for the last few days to apologize and beg for forgiveness. Once I gave it to him straight that I wasn't going to give him any money, he finally gave up. Considering his circumstances, I was kind of surprised that he was willing to give up so easily.
Man, poor Dad. He really had no idea how little savings he had left.
I don't really think of him as deserving of any pity, though. This is all a product of his own carelessness and selfishness. I mean, honestly, to think he had the gall to come to me and say that we could still love each other after the divorce? Did he really think I was going to agree to that? There would be absolutely nothing in it for me.
Well, what about me? Aren't you going to give me child support or something? Even if you and Dad get divorced, you're still my mom. That means you have a responsibility to make sure all my needs are met. So you need to pay for my tuition, room, and board, and everything else I'll need to go to college.
Oh dear, your dad still hasn't told you?
Told me what?
That I'm not your biological mother.
What?
I'll take that as a no, then. The truth is that I'm actually your dad's second wife. Your birth mother vanished without a trace while you were still a baby.
That's insane. Why did she leave, though? What happened?
Well, your father didn't tell me much about her, and I never pressed him for more information. All he ever told me was that she was an awful woman who loved alcohol more than she loved him. Knowing what I know about your dad now, though, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more to the story than just that. But like I said, I never met her and never asked him much about her. If you want to know more, then you'll have to ask your dad yourself.
I don't believe this. You're really not my real mom? And I'm not your real daughter? But you've called me your daughter for as long as I can remember. You paid for everything I needed. You took care of me when I was sick. You did that even though I wasn't your real daughter?
That's right, Misty. I told you, didn't I? I lost my parents when I was still in high school. The only family I ever knew was ripped away from me in an instant. So from then on, I've wanted nothing but to be able to build a new family of my own. Fate had other plans in store for me, however.
What do you mean?
When I was getting a checkup in my late teens, the doctor noticed an irregularity. So they did some more tests and gave me what I consider to be the second worst news I've received in my life. I would never be able to have a child of my own.
Wow, you're infertile?
Yeah, and that's why when I met your father through a dating website, I thought he was the answer to my prayers. A man with a good job and an infant daughter that I can raise as my own. My friend was hesitant about the idea and tried to talk me out of it, but my desire for a family was too strong and I married him anyway. I should have listened to her.
That's crazy. I had no idea. Why didn't you tell me sooner?
Your dad decided that you didn't need to know until you were older, both about his company and about your birth mother. I respected his wishes, that's all. I figured that as long as I gave you all the love that I could, then someday you would love me back.
Hey, about the night I got my acceptance letter. You know, the night me and Dad went out to eat and left you behind. You cooked all my favorite foods for dinner, didn't you? And I also saw a congratulations banner in the trash the next morning. Did you do all that for me because you loved me?
I did consider myself your mother, after all. You, however, only thought of me as a free maid.
Yeah, I said that, didn't I? Look, I'm really sorry about what I said to you. You were good to me, and I didn't deserve anything that Dad and I did to you.
You don't need to apologize to me, Misty. I've already learned that humans can't be trusted. If you genuinely feel sorry, then there's only one thing for you to do. Live with the regret for what you've done for the rest of your life. Misty kept persistently apologizing to me even after that, but I'd already made my decision. I'm not going to waste any more of my time or money. In the end, Misty was unable to secure enough funding to be able to go to college, so she had to withdraw her application. However, it does seem like everything that happened had a profound effect on her. I heard from an acquaintance that she's decided to enter the workforce and start her life over again. As for me, the time I spent with my friend Haley and all her dogs was instrumental in healing the emotional damage I suffered at the hands of my ex-family. I started up a non-profit organization dedicated to helping animal shelters get the word out about the animals that are available for adoption. It's the most fulfilling thing I've ever done, and I'm excited to get up every day and do something that is both enjoyable and meaningful. In a way, I'm kind of grateful to Misty and my ex-husband for kicking me out of the house that day.